Every season, once the garden has pepper, I usually share a pepper sauce recipe. Some of you call it hot sauce, but in the Caribbean, growing up in the Caribbean, we call it pepper sauce. And there's a recipe I wanted to share quite a while ago, which I haven't yet. And I've got some habanero peppers down here. I'm gonna take one. I think I saw another one. You can see a beautiful habanero pepper here. Just gonna go down inside here, and I saw another one here. And all I need is two, but greediness in me, I'm gonna grab a third one. So 3 habanero peppers. You can use any pepper you like, totally up to you. And what I went ahead and did with the peppers, I have 2 of them here, chopped up really fine, seeds and everything. And I'll just show you the inside. Now, if you want to control the heat a bit, where the seeds are and the white membrane surrounding the seeds, and we've talked about this before, I'm just wondering if the lighting is too bright, but if you want to control the heat a little bit, you would remove that and just chop up the sort of flesh or the skin. But I want it spicy. This is supposed to be a hot honey. Yeah, something a little bit different than the typical pepper sauce. So we have the chopped habanero peppers, any pepper you like, any sort, and you don't have to chop it, you can slice it as well, or you can use pepper flakes. I just find that with pepper flakes takes a long time to release the heat, and I want that heat in my oil, in my honey. I'm not calling it pepper honey for without reason. There must be reason. It must be spicy. And I have here just over a cup of honey as well, raw honey. You can use any honey that you like. Apple cider vinegar, and of course, to bring out the flavor, just a tiny bit of sea salt. If you want to hold back on the salt, you don't necessarily need to put that salt in there. I just find that the salt kind of heightens the sort of the heat from the habanero peppers. My stove is off. I'm just going to go in with all of that chopped up habanero peppers in there. Hit that a little scrape just to get all of it. Now at the end, you have the option of straining this so the sort of pieces of pepper, it doesn't remain in the honey. I want it in there. So over time, and this will last anywhere from 3 to 6 months in a dark, cool spot. If you put it in the fridge, it may last a bit longer, but the honey may crystallize on you. You know, in your pantry, stick it in your pantry there in a sterilized container, and anywhere from 3 to 6 months it will last in there. And I'm telling you, as a topping for your pizza, fried chicken, yeah, you drizzle that on the fried chicken. You make biscuits in the morning, you want a little something, you make pancakes or waffles or whatever. Man, there's so many uses. It's then time for the apple cider vinegar. And the printable recipe will be available at CaribbeanPot.com, so don't stress too much that you don't know the ingredients. And finally, just a little pinch of sea salt, nothing much, maybe about 1/4 teaspoon. And all I'm going to do at that point is give that a little mix, because I want immediate flavors to start happening in here. Additionally, if you wanted to add a herbal note to here, I am not a fan of rosemary, but a branch of rosemary in there, a sprig of rosemary in there would be ideal if rosemary is your thing. Iman is not a fan of rosemary, never been. She and we never get along. And finally, we're gonna pour in all of that honey in there. Just gonna make sure I scrape all of it down into the pot. Then we're gonna give that a mix, and we're gonna put it on a low flame. We don't want this to come up to any sort of vigorous boil. I'm gonna give that a stir, and I'm gonna keep stirring every 30 seconds or so. I don't want this to come up to a boil, but you need the honey to warm through to allow that habanero pepper to release the oils. I mean, that's what we wanted. What we want as well is the oils from the skin of the habanero pepper to flavor this as well too. So even before we start seeing any sort of bubble action, it's on a medium-low heat at this point. I'm just going to give it a couple minutes. You may see tiny bubbles on the edge there, and that's an indicator to turn off the stove. But the whole idea here now is to just bring that up to a temperature. And then we're going to remove it off the stove, and I have 1 more tablespoon of apple cider vinegar I'd like to finish it with, just to brighten it up at the end. So we've got some, and at the start you saw me add that apple cider vinegar because what that vinegar did was to help release some of the heat from the habanero pepper as well. So 2 stages of that apple cider vinegar. But for now, 2 minutes, I'm going to remove it off the stove, and make sure you have those sterilized containers ready, some glass containers or a squeeze bottle, totally up to you. Now if you're using a plastic squeeze bottle, you will want this to completely cool before you put it in there, or it may, depending on the plastic, it may bend up, warp up, go all kiskity on you. I know. I've started to see a little action there, so I'm going to turn off my stove, and we're going to hit it with that final little drizzle of apple cider vinegar. Give that a stir, and then I have my sterilized glass jars. I've got a tiny, well, they're relatively small, so I'm going to fill this up. Any overflow is going to go into this one for everyday use. This one is going to go into the cupboard, and again, a cool, dark place. And you know, Christmas is coming. The holiday season is coming. You make some of these. I mean to say, honey can be a bit pricey, but if you head over to the Costco or the Sam's Club or whatever sort of wholesale place you support, I'm sure you can get some for a relatively good price. And you know, you make these little containers, and I'll just show you the lid. It's a beautiful little wooden, I think a bamboo lid, and I got these at the dollar store. The label didn't come out after I washed them, but anyhow, these, you know, make great little gifts to give out at the holiday time and stuff like that for people who enjoy. And again, pizza won't be the same after you've drizzled this on. Fried chicken, I kid you not, Caribbean people, I know we love our fried chicken naked or with ketchup or with mustard or whatever, but a little drizzle of this hot honey, changing the game altogether. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? I'm trying to be careful. I'm just gonna pour that lovely hot honey down inside my container. Quickly move this one aside, my little everyday use one. Just gonna hit that one more quick swirl because I want to pick up the pepper flakes on the side. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com, not your typical Caribbean recipe, but I'm telling you, this hot honey is so delightful. Let me finish off over here. It is just one of them things you'd wonder how come you lived without it before. Irie?